In the very, very beginning, my only goal was to get to 20. Most podcasts, they quit after 4 episodes. They realise that no one's listening and it's a lot of work. And so I was determined that that was never going to be me. So I'm even more proud to go, wow, that's 50 episodes. Even if we quit tomorrow, 50 episodes is pretty cool. We've always been taught, do yourself out of a job. You give them the skills, you give them the information that they can do things for themselves. So I think the podcast give people that chance to do it without coming in to see me and spending that money.
This is the truest version of you, is this show.
I think I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to get it right and nailing it. And I just beat myself up about all the things to the point where I was like, do I even want to put this out there? It took me a little while to realise it's not a presentation. I'm not giving all the information like I was doing a TED Talk.
You can either be on the field or you can be in the stands watching. And quite often, any negative feedback that you're getting is from the people in the stands.
Yeah.
I think people who are out there doing it,
They get it.
Just before we start the show, wanted to let everybody know that the Reconnect to Self retreat is open for October. It's the 23rd to the 25th. That means places are now available and you can secure your spot by visiting the website traceyquayle.com. Tracey, what can people learn on the retreat?
Emotional regulation techniques. They're going to go back to their younger self and connect up with times in their life where they haven't been able to really process emotions, and we're going to do breath work to help to release those stuck emotions that have been sitting in the body for many years, looking at how to love yourself, how to care for yourself, how to just stop and slow down, giving you lots of practical tips that you can take away so that when you get back home, you can add these things into your everyday life. It doesn't have to be that you can always go away for a weekend, but you can take these tools and tricks back and have them balance out your normal world.
And we've seen that with so many people who've done the retreat now that it's just the beginning of the journey. And then they take all of those skills that you teach them. And we've seen lots of people really change their lives for the better. So we've had people who have been dealing with breakups and separations, people who are just overworked and burnt out.
People that feel lost, don't know themselves.
Don't feel like they don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
People who are like in this sandwich generation where you have kids, but you're also caring for your parents as they're getting older. It can help all sorts of people. And there's testimonials and stuff on the website if you want to check it out and see how we've helped people. But if you've been listening to the show for long enough, I think you'd be pretty keen. So limited spots. I think we're limited to 10 people. Mm-hmm. Yep. So if you want to find out more, head to the website. Okay, on with the show. Welcome everyone to the Reconnect Self podcast, the show that helps you ultimately rediscover what brings you joy. My name is Scott. I am your host. I'm also a filmmaker. And as always, I'm here with my wife, Tracey, who is a counsellor of 20 years experience, a qualified breathwork instructor, and certified psychedelic-assisted therapist. And from the very first episode, it's been the two of us trying to build something around what it means to reconnect to yourself. And today, we're going back to where it started. Just a conversation between a husband and wife, two parents, and apparently now podcast hosts. Hello, babe.
Hi. We should have mentioned Lenny as well. He's been part of this journey from the beginning.
That's true. Since episode 1, Lenny has, we had no choice.
Yeah, I wonder if people know that the only reason Lenny's on my lap is because there's no other place he would allow himself to be.
He would be crying, barking, whinging. And,
pouring up my leg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if I pop him on my lap, then he doesn't bother us.
Yeah. It feels strange. It's just the two of us.
I know. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It's been ages. One of my questions, I may as well ask you this.
Yeah.
How many episodes do you think we did by ourselves?
20?
Close. 17.
Okay.
I think 17 was the first time we had a guest, which was Greg.
And we never stopped after that?
I think we might have done one, just the two of us since then, but not a lot.
So if you added them up, or are you just guessing that it's 17?
No, episode 17 was our first guest. I know that for a fact.
But then have we had any guests any solos in between from 17 to 50?
I don't know.
That's what you should have changed.
Why?
Because you've just asked me how many we've had.
How many episodes we've had to get to our first guest. That was my question.
Right. Sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So today, I guess we want to cover a little bit of behind the scenes, but we also want to talk about perseverance. I
Yeah.
guess that's the theme of the show,
Yep.
because there's a lot to it. We could have given up many, many, many times.
And there's probably lots of things people don't know about, our own journey, like
Yes.
our own internal journey, particularly mine. Mine's probably been a bit more of a
Well,
struggle.
why don't we start there? Because
We'll start with the very, very beginning.
okay, yeah, all right. We have actually prepared. So we have Tracey has some questions for me, and I have some questions for her. And why don't you just fire away with your, because your ones to me are really about why it started, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the question. So why did you come to me pitching the idea of doing a podcast?
Part of it definitely was that I know that you didn't love social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought you love chatting. So if you love chatting but you don't like doing social media videos, what is a good other option?
Mm-hmm.
And I had done it, and I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but in 2015, when podcasting was still pretty new, I did a podcast.
I had a podcast. You didn't just do a podcast, you had a podcast.
Yeah, about poker. I was massive into poker. I was playing online quite a lot, wasn't I? When I played with our next door neighbour, he was massive into poker as well, and we would nerd out and have little poker parties, and I was obsessed. And then you got me for a birthday present some poker lessons from a pro
In Singapore.
Thailand.
Thailand was he?
Yeah, but he was British. He was from Manchester, but he lived in Thailand and was a full-time poker player online. And
What a good gift, by the way.
It was a great gift. One of your best, actually. And yeah, I sort of hit it off with him, and he'd just written a book, and I offered to edit the book for him. And then I came up with that idea too. I said, to promote your book, people need to get to know you, so why don't we do a poker podcast? And so it was me and the pro and our next door neighbour.
Yeah.
That one I did 20 episodes, and then poker became illegal in Australia. And so that's why I was like, I'm not playing poker anymore, because I didn't want to go to the casino. I prefer online. And I was like, I feel like a bit of a fraud. I can't just host a poker podcast and not play. But the podcast went on to do over 100 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Did they replace you?
Yes. Yeah. So another Aussie, like an older Aussie guy from Queensland, who was a big fan of the show.
Oh,
so
wow.
it was a real thing for him to come on and be the host. He did a great job. Yeah, he was really good. And they had me on for the 50th episode, I think.
Oh, that's so sweet. I didn't even know that. Oh, well, remember that.
It was a long time ago.
Sure, you would have told me.
Yeah, over 10 years. So I had experience with what a podcast can do. And I knew that, I think the big thing with us is, I feel like if people can get to know us, but especially you can't help but fall in love with you. So I felt that if people spend the time, hear what you've got to say, it would be a really nice way for them to connect with you. And then whatever we happen to do, whether it's the retreats or breathwork journeys or whatever, like, people are going to feel like they know you. Plus, you have tons of information to share. And my philosophy has always been, give as much away for free as you can.
Yeah.
Like, I've always believed, I'm sure people who've listened to the show know that my old life was in marketing. Mm-hmm. And I always felt like I was a little bit ahead of, this is going to sound arrogant, but I was ahead of the game in terms of, I always viewed it as give people value, and eventually you'll build up enough goodwill that they'll want to spend money with you.
Yeah. Do you know, can I do a side tangent already?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
First 5 minutes already tangenting. Yeah. But I was literally listening to an episode this morning with the Human Garage. I don't know if it's called a project, but Human Garage anyway.
I think it is. Yeah.
Project, yeah. So it's a really, really fascinating
Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, and I think they have a podcast, do you think? I don't know. They're on podcasts. They're also on podcasts. But anyway, they basically work with the body and with the fascia, and they talk about how, everything in the body is moved through the fascia, whether it's, minerals, vitamins, information, trauma, all of the rest of it is in the fascia. But he spent $1 million on trying to get himself better before he ended up going to jail for totally separate reason, which was very interesting as well.
Should I nod along and pretend that I haven't heard this story 10 minutes ago?
Yes, do that.
Okay.
Do that. Yeah, because I'll tell it with the same
I
enthusiasm.
know, that's one of your gifts. For anyone who doesn't know, Tracey can tell the same story over and over and over again with the exact same enthusiasm, all the same beats, whereas after I've told it once, I cannot do that.
Or you'll change it. You'll
I'll shorten it.
Or you'll
get through
embellish. No, I have to have it really accurate.
Embellish?
You sometimes will.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've
Back to him.
sidetracked your sidetrack.
Yeah. So he was talking about how, because of his own journey of spending so much money, and then when he finally figured out what he could do for his body that was helpful and he could do it himself, he couldn't believe that, he didn't need to rely on another practitioner and things. So their philosophy or their value is that they give away about 95% of their product, services, whatever it is, which is massive. They're huge. They're doing so well, but it's around that philosophy of people should have access to this stuff, and you shouldn't rely on a practitioner for something for things. So I also feel the same way. Like we've always been taught, from uni days, do yourself out of a job. Like you want to get people to the point
say that
where,
quite a bit.
where you give them the skills, you give them the information that they can do things for themselves. So I think the podcast and the things that we do give people that chance to do it without coming in to see me and spending that money. They can just listen while they're driving or doing some chores or whatever else and still get, good information and be able to implement these things into their life. That really is important to me.
Yeah. And you quite like sharing our episodes for specific topics
yes,
to people.
It's so helpful for clients especially. Because otherwise, again, like if I'm doing something like a vision with my clients, back in the day, I'd sit there for a whole hour and that would be the whole session.
Yeah.
Now I just send them the podcast and they can still watch me, you as well, but talking through the examples, talking through and probably even in more detail, because even when I do those on the retreats, I don't sit there for a whole hour explaining that. So the podcast is probably even better than being in person because I'm giving more information.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking back through the first episodes we did together by ourselves, and there was so much good stuff in there. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I think we were putting value out there from episode 1.
Yes.
So I'm proud of us for that. Okay, you have another question for me? Are we still covering the backstory?
Well, yeah, but should you ask me about the backstory?
Okay, well, let's do the biggest hurdle.
Well, no, I want to come from the very beginning, because that's what you did actually come to me with, saying that if you did the podcast, then you wouldn't have to do these social media reels where I make you do a certain little line and you've scripted it up for me.
Yeah.
And
because I was in a headspace of, I thought I could master social media. Like I thought it was something to be completed. Like you could figure it out. And whilst I do think that is still the case to a point, I don't think it's actually authentic. Like there is ways that you can get reels to go viral and whatever, but they have to be so scripted.
Yeah,
and
I don't do that.
That's not who you are.
And so people might not realise this. We butted heads a lot.
I think people get a rough edge.
We didn't fight though. It would just be this creative difference of me feeling that wasn't authentic, and you're trying to get me to do certain things that just don't feel natural to me.
Yeah.
And so it would feel icky to me, and I'd be bratty.
Yeah, tough. That's a side that people have never ever. I'm the only one, aren't I? You would never would be bratty to anyone else, and we should describe what bratty
just looks
like.
Irritable. Bratty looks like
can't be
wait
bothered.
To get this over.
Yeah, I'm not interested in doing this.
Yeah,
I suck.
Yeah, a lot of self-critical.
Yeah.
That was shit. That sounded crap.
Yeah. That and then I'm the director who has to
manage that talent.
And you've probably been the hardest talent I've ever managed. And part of that is because
I can.
Because you can. You know, you're my wife.
If it was somebody else, I'd probably button it up and.
Of course, everybody would. Any normal person would, but because we have this relationship, I was pushing against you because I was also thinking, well, this is my image out there and this is my reputation. It's actually one thing I should give you credit for is for someone who you've never cared about this stuff, it's never been on your radar, you do have a very good sense of how to put the authentic version of you into the world. Like you, and we do have creative differences at times, and sometimes that can be an argument, and sometimes it can be just a
A moment.
But you do have a very clear sense of who you are and how that version of you that you put out into the world needs to represent you in an authentic way. I don't mean that it's, you haven't choreographed it.
No, I know what you're saying, because even sometimes when you'll script something,
Yeah.
if that doesn't, because you say you know my tone very well, which you do, but if there's certain words in there, I just will not say them if it doesn't resonate for me.
And then what happens, just another peek behind the curtain, is you'll go, okay, I don't like that. And I go, okay, well, that's fine. Think of something else. And then you'll freeze and then you'll get angry with me. Frustrated, yeah. So a little peek. So that's a good...
So that's why he said, if we do the podcast, you won't have to do all of that yuckiness.
Which is actually true. This is the truest version of you.
Yes, but they used to have made me do a lot of social media.
Of course. Yeah.
So,
I mean, I haven't for a while. We have sort of stopped that for a bit.
Yeah.
But
I also, when you did ask me, luckily, one of my clients years ago, he was a personal trainer, and he had a group online, like I think for Facebook or something, and he was bringing in different professionals to give information to, add value for his clients. And he asked me to, answer some questions about maybe anxiety or self-care. I can't actually remember what it was, but he came to my office and we did it. And because he was asking me questions, I could just talk away.
Yes, I remember this.
Yeah, and so for me that felt so easy compared to if he was just sort of getting me to do a script or, have some sort of presentation, that would have made me very nervous and I would have been very worried. But when he was just asking a question, I'm responding, it felt so natural. I was like, okay, that does work better for me. I like to respond to things rather than, have it ready like a script.
That's your human design, isn't it?
Yes,
you respond to things.
I'm a generator, so I respond to things.
A question that I ask Tracey each evening is, what would you like to watch? So we've got Netflix, Amazon, whatever. What do you want to watch? Give me 3 options.
Well, you say, do you want to watch the blah, blah, blah? And I'll say, can I please have 3 options?
Do you say, can I please?
Yes. I do. All right.
Do you know what's interesting is because we haven't done a one-on-one show for so long, I forgot we have to look into each other's eyes so much. Because usually we're looking at a guest or a screen. With
the guest on the screen.
And I forgot that we look at each other so much. It's very intimate. Okay.
All right. So let me ask, what did you think this would look like by 50 episodes?
Kind of similar to what it actually has turned into. I did know that there was a point where it couldn't just be the 2 of us all the time.
Yeah.
As you know, I do have an idea that if we get to a point where we'll do weekly episodes, I think we will start sprinkling in ones where it's just the 2 of us, or sometimes it might just be you, or sometimes it might just be me.
Might just be you. I got to respond to something.
That's true. It'd probably just be me by myself or both of us. But I knew probably after the first season that it would we would need some guests because I know you would think we were getting to a point where you were like, oh, what else can we talk about? And I feel like having guests on was always probably the vision, because I also think that's how you potentially grow, is by having someone who other people like and are interested in what they have to say. And the big surprise for me is how good the guests have been.
That's been my surprise too. And that they reach out to us. I kind of thought that we would have to source guests, and at first we're using the people in our personal lives that we value. Yeah. But to get people that we've never met before really surprised me of the caliber of people, and that we get to choose. Like, you'll send me things and you'll say, what do you think of this guest? Yeah. And depending on how that lands.
That's a big part of it, is even though we are still considered small, I act like we're big.
And your production value acts like we're big.
Correct. But I do that on purpose because I feel like I'm not just going to have any guest on for the sake of having a guest on. I want to, and you're good at this too, like you're very clear on who fits the show and who doesn't. I like to go, every single episode has to be the best possible thing that we can make it. And so with guests, we've said no to lots of people. But yeah, I was surprised that people reach out to us, and I can give another little behind the scenes on how that sort of happened, is because some of the guests as you know, would be people that I've connected with on LinkedIn or people that you've connected with, more so in person. But we've had lots of guests come on the show who have reached out to us, and that all actually kicked off from the emotional intelligence episode. So I can't remember what number that was, but it was a while ago. And people who will remember Amy Jacobson. So she was a really good guest. Her episode was amazing, all about learning how to improve. Like, you can improve emotional intelligence, right? Yeah. And anyway, she'd written a book, and her book publisher / publicist saw the show. And that's where I'm saying, like, one of my tips to people is, if you want to grow anything, is act big, even though you're small.
Yeah. Because
that publicist looked at our show and went, that's a really good show. Like, well produced, good hosts, looks good. So all of a sudden he started randomly, I'd never met him, never spoken to him, but he'd obviously seen the Amy episode. He's like, you want to interview this person? They've just written a book about whatever. And I'm, that sounds really good.
Lots of good ones.
And I still have that relationship with him now. And I also try and make sure I make that really easy for him. And I'll give him feedback when he sent, because I've said no to him a few times because I'm like, nah, it's too businessy. We're not a business podcast.
Yeah.
And this morning I was really excited because he emailed me about a sleep expert. Yeah. I was like, amazing. I'd love to do an episode on sleep. So
just things that resonate for us or we think are important that our clients.
Yeah, because ultimately I guess the reason we made this show is you see it every day in your office, and I've seen it on retreats because, well, especially me, I live in a bit of a bubble where I've done the work. Like, I've done it all, and I still do work. I'm not talking about day-to-day work. I'm talking about work on yourself. I did that 10 years ago, and I'm still working. But I did it.
We're always going to continue.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying I'm done, but I'm saying that I think I got over the hump.
Yeah.
And then I just sort of lived in a bubble, and I thought everyone was, because you just think, well, everyone is the same as me. But doing the retreats in particular sort of opened my eyes to, there's still tons and tons of people who were where I was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I can share some of the things that I've experienced, and then obviously all the expertise that you bring, what an amazing way to go through life, like helping people.
Yeah.
And so I think we've done a pretty good job of doing that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right. Well, can we come to your hurdle now?
Sure.
Is it the right time of the show?
You can.
Tell us, there's a specific story we did episode 1.
Yeah. So we recorded episode 1, and before releasing it, I sent it to a few friends just to get a little bit of feedback. And at that point, I wasn't really sure, what we're doing, like we're knowing what we're wanting to do. But that first episode was a kind of getting to know you one. And I got some feedback, some constructive feedback from one of my friends who I would also, I'd hate for her to hear this episode, because I think that she would be really
she wouldn't be offended.
Not offended, but
because it wasn't meant in an offensive way. No, she would
feel bad that I took it in a certain way. So I wouldn't want her to feel bad about that, because I know that was not her intent, and she's the most beautiful, amazing person ever. Yep. But what she had said to me was things like, have you thought of this? Or could you try this? Or just suggestions kind of stuff, which my immediate self-talk was, I did shit. I didn't put that in, and maybe I should have said that, and she's right. And I just beat myself up about all the things.
You did it quite a lot.
Yeah, to the point where I was like, do I even want to put this out there? Like, why would I want to put that out there when one of my closest friends is saying that?
Yeah.
And it actually took me quite a few episodes, maybe 3 at least.
Minimum of 3.
Minimum, yeah. Because I remember the anxiety one as well. I remember thinking afterwards, I didn't word that correctly, and I didn't say this, and why didn't I say window of tolerance rather than describing it the way I described it? Whatever it was, I was my own worst critic after that. And
you were really, really hard on yourself, whereas I was not.
Yeah. You were like, no, that was great. We did well. And,
I thought it was really good from the outset.
I think for me, it took me a little while to realise it's not a presentation. I'm not giving all the information like I was doing a TED Talk, in that one episode. And so once I realised that I'm not going to cover everything in one episode, and it's a conversation, and in a conversation you don't always word things correctly or think the terminology in that moment, and and that's okay. And that over many, many episodes, maybe I'll convey that message more fully or explain it in more detail or things. But I think I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to get it right just in that, in that first take or that one episode and nailing it.
Yeah. I think you had an idea of, so for me, I picture an audience and I just picture it as a random person who I know listening in the car. Mm-hmm. I think you were picturing other counsellors, psychologists, experts,
professionals
judging you.
Yeah, being like, oh, she's an idiot.
Yeah.
She got that wrong.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you get past that?
I think it was, because when we edit it, you always send me the episode to listen to make sure that, you haven't missed anything or I'm happy with it or whatever. So I'm always listening back. And after a while, I just started realising, you sound fine.
Yeah. And you listen to a lot of other podcasts, so you have good frame of reference.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of episodes of other podcasts. And that's where, again, I was sort of saying to myself, well, you don't always like every episode of other people's podcasts you listen to. And sometimes you might think it's a bit rambly or it's a bit too chit-chatty, around nothing things. Yep. But you still listen again and you don't judge them for that, So I started realising, well, if I'm like that with other people, then surely people would be like that with me. And so I started being a bit kinder to myself. And then eventually, and I don't know when this kicked in, but definitely when we had guests, I would listen back and be like, that was a really good conversation. Yeah. And I can hear the energy in my voice. And sometimes, I know you're going to ask me this question later in the podcast, but about one of my favourite episodes.
Yes,
but one that
I know the one.
Because I talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Tim Jack Adams.
Yeah. And I think it's because he was such a vibey guest.
Yes.
And he told funny stories as part of, sharing his information that had us cracking up laughing. So even when I've listened back to that, I get the same energy as what I had on the day of recording.
Yes.
So I think I really love that. And I hope that people feel that, when they listen to things as well, of whatever our energy was, that they feel it.
Yep.
And I think actually, if I'm going to give us a compliment, when I've listened to other guests on other podcasts, sometimes I've thought, oh, okay, that's how that guest is. I'll give you an example. I'll actually name one. When we had Jonathan, we had Jonathan Robertson on only recently. So I listened to his podcast maybe a couple of nights before ours, and he was quite dry and a bit more serious in that podcast. And I did notice that that was what the host was like. So he was matching the energy of the host. But I also didn't know that wasn't who Jonathan was. And then when he came on our podcast, because our vibe is different and our questions are different, I thought he was much lighter and much more engaging.
Yeah, he was, yeah. And I think he enjoyed that more because he emailed us and said how much he enjoyed it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, that other episode I listened to, I thought, oh, that was... Not that I would have turned it off, but it wouldn't have engaged me the same way as hearing him on our podcast, even though he was sharing lots of the same information.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we try and do is give good quality information with experts, but do it in a fun way.
Yeah.
All right. What does the podcast cost in terms of time, energy, relationship dynamic, and anything else that you want to cover?
Well, luckily for me, it's much less of a burden on me than it is for you. I think it's lucky that you come up with the idea, because if I had have come to you and said, I'd like to do a podcast and I'd like you to set it up and I'd like you to edit it, put it online and figure out how to put it online and all the things you need to do, which I still don't even know how you did that. Yep. That probably would have been a bit of a hurdle, but because you came to me and I'm like, oh, I just have to chat for an hour and a half, that's fine.
That's in your wheelhouse.
It's in my wheelhouse. Although in saying that, the scheduling sometimes can be a lot. Like sometimes if we're recording 2 podcasts in a week and I'm doing a phone client with somebody and then all the other things of my own personal appointments in between, where I always tell people I work part-time. I don't think I work part-time anymore.
No.
I think that even the prepping for the episodes, like of getting to know the guest or reading part of their book or listening to podcasts about them, so you've got some sort of understanding of who they are, reading through your notes that you write, ready for the episode. Yep. So while it's very easy for me, it's certainly added more things onto my plate. Even editing, when we have to listen back, sometimes you might give that to me on a Friday and it's coming out on the Monday and I've got to squeeze that in. So there can be different things that, add pressure. But I think because I like it so much now, it doesn't feel so much like work. But there has been times where it's just been more of where am I going to put this?
Yeah, for you, I think it's a time thing.
Yeah.
Not a lack of passion or love.
Yeah.
You're a busy person.
Yes. So that's what I think it takes from me. What about for you?
A similar thing is another lesson I want people to take, and that's why I talked about perseverance in the intro, is we couldn't have got this far if we didn't both love it. Like, similar to the retreat, there's been many times on the retreat where I've said, this doesn't actually feel like work. Even though by the Sunday I'm physically and mentally exhausted because we've been holding space for a group of people for a whole weekend, dealing with some pretty heavy shit. Yeah. I still love it. And I feel the same about this. Sometimes, we've woken up at 6 a.m. to get there because people know we film this in our house. I mean, obviously the dog's here. So I have to set this up and pack it down. And sometimes if we have a guest from America and we're doing an early show, I'll have to get up early and do it, and maybe not always feel like that. But yeah, even then, I'll just pop on a podcast and I enjoy the quiet time of the setup.
Yeah. Kids get banned from the kitchen though.
Yeah, that can be an issue on a school day, which is pretty much when we film these. But everything else I love. The edit can sometimes be tricky. I
bet it's when it's got overseas guests and the audio drops out and you're using a different audio file to drop in the words.
Yeah, so for another little behind the scenes, that's a tricky one, is when you're dealing on Zoom, sometimes the internet connection cannot be amazing. And so what I actually do, and people might pick up this if they have eagle ears, is that eagle-eared listeners, same as eagle-eyed, yep. Will sometimes notice the occasional word will sound different, and that's because I've actually asked them to record their side of the conversation on their phone, and now I get Tommy to do this, but I have done it, and it is painstaking, where you actually have to listen to the episode, and if a word drops out, you have to fill it in with the phone recording.
And it could just be one word or two words.
One or two words, but can be quite important words. So
yeah, the gist of the story is lost without it.
But that can be painstaking. But generally, like, I've automated a lot. Another thing that, I know this, I'd just like to drop random tips about everything, about life, is I have worked a lot on how AI can help me do this. And I wouldn't mind giving a little bit of behind the scenes on this, because I personally think it's interesting. Right. So there's a few things I kind of figured out that take a lot of time. The first thing I figured out was editing, going from whoever's talking, right? So let's say that episode is just 1 hour for simplicity. If you're changing the camera angle to whoever's talking and you're doing that manually, that's going to probably take 3 hours. And that's just like little simple cuts to go, right, now Tracey's talking, we'll show Tracey. Now Scott's talking, we'll show Scott. So the first thing I did was found a program. I pay $50 a month for this thing, and I just have to load up. Tracey is on camera 1, Scott's camera 2, the guest is camera 3, and the same with the microphones. And it will go through and auto chop whoever's talking. So that saves me 3 hours for $50 a month. I thought, definitely getting that.
Yeah.
I also, so things that go into the show that people might not know is researching a guest, for example. So if I get a guest, say the sleep doctor, who I'd love to have on, and I think I will, she's written a book. So the first thing I've got to do is, and I don't read every page of every book, but I would like to have a pretty good understanding of what the book's about. So sometimes I will take photos. So I'll read bits and pieces of the book. I'll take photos of pages. I'll load that into the AI. I'll get other, any sort of transcript I can get my hands on of other shows that they've been on. I'll put that into the AI, and then I'll say, right, give me a research brief of who this person is and some ideas for themes for the show. And I've taught the AI now, and I just, for people into this sort of thing, I prefer Claude over ChatGPT. I think it's better. You can do more things with it.
You've just recently changed that, haven't you?
Yeah, probably a few months ago now. And you can build skills. And what that means is I've got a skill called podcast preparation. And it knows that I'm going to give it as much info as I can about the guests, but it already knows, right, this is what Scott wants. He wants a research brief that he can give to Tracey so that Tracey knows all about the guest. He wants a document that has potential themes, but those themes have to fit the show or the theme, our show, Reconnect to Self, and what we stand for. And then potential questions, but it also knows I don't like long-winded questions. Just give me some questions I can glance at. And then I'll go through manually and sort of change them. But that whole process that maybe used to take me half a day, I could maybe now do that in less than 1 hour.
Wow.
So that's made a big difference. And then even stuff like the most time consuming thing of this whole thing is the trailer. The trailer for the episode that...
And you've upped your game with those trailers.
And talking about self-doubt, like the amount of time and effort I put into those for how many people actually watch.
Oh, yeah, I feel bad for you. I see the views on those and think, gosh.
But my philosophy, same thing, is I want this show to look big. And that's what I think gives it a bit of polish. But I've also tried to be clever about that. So now I upload the transcript of the show to the AI, and I've taught that. Here's what I like in a trailer. And with a trailer, I like to sort of tell the story of the episode and obviously have little bite-sized little quotes from whoever's on the show and to sort of match that. And so I upload the transcript, and then Claude gives me, right, well, here was a nice bit, this might fit in well. And then that probably saves me another hour or two of scrubbing through the episode trying to find the best quotes. Like I've got an idea. And now I've just worked this process where I can knock out a trailer probably in 2 hours, where there was times where it took me a whole day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good. But again, I love it.
I felt pleased for you when you finally got a viral for our version of viral clip go crazy.
Clip. Yeah, and the ironic thing about that is that by far the longest reel that we've ever put out there. So if anyone doesn't know, we had this amazing, one of my favorite episodes, I would say, guest Janelle Booker, who's an ADHD expert, and she talked about the morning routine for someone with ADHD, and it was really good.
Yeah.
It was really engaging. I just had a feeling that was going to do well, but then it went on to get, I guess, over 1 million views across
all the platforms.
And that was quite gratifying.
But for people that do chase, views and likes and subscribers and things, the one thing to know is because that one was around ADHD, yes, it did really jump our, followers up and things like that. But I did notice that we then did have over time, a drop off because we're not an ADHD podcast.
Yep.
That was just one episode. So as soon as they realise, there's not loads and loads more content coming out, around that, you do get that drop off. So I think don't worry about the views or about the subscribers. Like I think sometimes
that's
can be
an interesting thing for us to delve into. Is I didn't look, and you definitely didn't because you don't know how to do it. But I didn't look at any analytics for the show. I think for probably the first 20 episodes.
Yeah,
which I think was a godsend.
And the difference for you,
because I didn't do it on purpose. I think I just didn't really
realise how to do it, or
didn't really think about it at the time. But I think if I had have gone and looked at how many people watched the first 10 episodes, which I think are amazing episodes, I would have been very disheartened.
And I think for me, because I didn't know the stats and didn't really care, but I was getting enough people telling me either through messages or in person in the office and things, positive feedback that made me feel, okay, this is landing, this is resonating for people. I'm liking that. So I used to always try and make sure I came up and told you because you weren't getting that.
I was getting nothing.
Yeah, that feedback.
Yeah. And that's back when we had 100 people following us on Instagram, and
really low.
and you'd know if the number went up because it would go up by 1.
Yeah, it still goes up by 1. But I think it's just not paying attention to that stuff. And I think I listen to enough podcasts where they all talk about it doesn't matter how many followers you have. It's what converts, like for me, doing the podcast is about sharing really good information, but it's also about what you said. People get to know us. And my favorite thing that happens is when someone sits in front of me in the office and they say to me, I listen to your podcast and I feel like I already know you. Yeah. Or they come to the retreat and say the exact same thing. I feel like I already know you.
It's been lovely.
And do you know what's funny? I was thinking of this the other night, that when we had Jonathan on the show about how MDMA really speeds up that rapport and that trust building and, people being open with you. I feel like the podcast kind of does that for me. Yeah. Like I had this one client where she came in, same thing she'd said, I've listened to all of your episodes. And at that point, I think we were up to 35. So she'd really listened to, a lot of hours of us chatting. Yeah. So she's got a good sense of me. And I think after her second session, we did EMDR and she had something so powerful happen. It immediately shifted for her. And I think we could go into that so quickly because she really trusted me really quickly. Yeah. So I think that really speeds up their therapy because they're so open with me.
That's awesome.
They also know I'm woo-woo and, you know, all the things, and I can talk in my normal ways. Whereas, don't get me wrong, I can pull that back and meet people where they're at. But if they know how I am and they're drawn to me, then they might be into those things too. So again, I'm getting more of a aligned client in the way that I like to work.
Yeah.
You know, that I can suggest breath work and they don't think I'm crazy, or I can suggest, you know, certain things and they don't think, what's this chick on about?
Well, I think that you've become very clear on what you stand for and what you want to do with the rest of your career. I think that's become more and more obvious as we've gone through this journey.
Yeah. And you know, the funny thing as well, it's the little things that make people feel comfortable, because you introducing us at the very beginning of the episode and saying that I'm a psychedelic assisted therapist, we've had a number of different guests open up about their journey into psychedelics, even just randomly, not even related to the topic. We had one the other day where she said she had LSD the day before. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, that was amazing. She would never have said that if that was not in my title.
Yeah. No, I think it's important, because another little behind the scenes is a lot, especially if they've written a book, then the guest has probably done minimum 5 other podcasts, potentially double figures.
Yeah.
And may or may not have even looked up our podcast.
Yeah.
And so they come on and have no idea who we are. So I think doing that little intro is like, this is who you're
lets them know.
Dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect me, goddammit. No. Has it changed anything else in how you are as a therapist?
I think I can give a lot more homework that's directive. So I can say to somebody, you know, if you want to know more about intimacy, listen to this episode. Or like I said, about the visions, or about love languages, we've got all those things. So I think I give a lot of homework that's related to the podcast. But just recently, what I've started doing with my couples is, because we did the relationship reset episode, and it talks a lot about what's in the retreat, and it goes through in detail what we cover. I now send that to people and say, look, listen to that episode. It might give you an insight of whether the retreat's suitable for you and whether you'd like to do that. But regardless of whether you want to come or not, you hearing the things that I cover in my retreat will give you an insight into, oh gosh, I need that or that or that. So they can also come back to me really clearly, I want to work on this.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that feels like it saves a bit of time. And my goal is always to give people the best value.
Yep.
So if they can come in and get to the heart of their problems quicker and change and shift and move on, then I can take on another client and help them with that, you know. And if they come back for a tweak, they come back for a tweak. But I don't want to sit there for, 4 sessions before giving them homework and getting some changes happening.
I'm just looking at other questions that I want to ask you. So we know your favourite, we don't have favourites, but we know one of the episodes that you really love.
Yeah.
Is there a moment that you really love from any of the episodes? And while you're thinking about that, I can probably share maybe a couple of my favorite episodes.
Okay.
And it's hard because I've loved all of them, and I don't want to pick favorite guests, but I do have to mention Janelle's episode about ADHD, because I just felt like that was a turning point for the show. That's the one that has the most views, the one that resonated with the most people, and the one that had the most social media traction. And I just felt really proud of putting good, useful information out into the world and people resonating with it. For me, that was a really, really nice feeling.
Yeah. We're on that same episode because I was talking a lot about my dad and my sister and, sharing personal things. I think her as a guest in general, she was a bit life-changing in my world, because of that, for my dad specifically.
Yeah, they had ripple effects.
Yeah. And that's another one where it's an easy share. As soon as someone's saying, I think I might, or I think my partner, or I think whatever, and everybody nowadays thinks they have ADHD. So it's nice to be able to send them something and go, just listen to that and see what you resonate with.
Yeah.
It's an easy tool to use.
Yeah, and so all-encompassing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You want to ask me something?
Okay. What has this taught you about yourself that has nothing to do with podcasts or podcasting?
I definitely think the perseverance thing is, this question is most relevant to that, and and I've prepared an outro for today, so I don't want to step on that now. But I think just persisting with something purely because you love it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of too many other times I've done that. Maybe DJing. But because when you think about how many podcasts that are out there, and this might be just me, but when we talk with our friends that we have a podcast, they don't roll their eyes, but mentally, I think they are rolling their eyes. Because it's ridiculous. Like, there is millions and millions of shows
every second
out
person
there.
has got a podcast.
Yeah, and so, I don't feel shame or embarrassment, but I do feel, God, they must think we're so stupid for attempting this.
When did you think that, though?
All the time. I still
think that.
Oh, absolutely. At the funeral the other day, someone was asking me about the show, and because the crazy thing is, not many of our friends listen to this.
No, I don't think that's crazy at all.
Okay, well, no, I was saying to you the other day, if one of our friends had a podcast, I think I would listen, just purely out of curiosity and interest.
But do you think every episode you'd listen, or do you think a couple of episodes?
I listen to a lot of shows, so probably every episode. If our close friends had a podcast, I genuinely would listen.
Mm-hmm. We do have friends.
Unless it was absolute dog shit.
We do have friends that listen. In fact, it's actually a problem because then they feel like they've caught up with me. And I'm like, no, but you haven't caught up with me. Like, I've got one of my mother's group friends. She always says that to me. And I'm like, no, you need to organise real life ones with me.
So I guess to answer your question, it is persistence in the context of really feeling like I look like I'm chasing some ridiculous dream. I think that's what it would be.
Really?
Yeah, because it's hard. Like, the podcast world is saturated.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of it. It's nothing to do with how good the show is. I'm very proud of what we produce. It's more about, will we ever achieve, really high numbers and recognition and having...
Do you want that?
Yeah, I do want that. Mm-hmm. The reason I want it is because I love doing it anyway. Mm-hmm. The ultimate goal of, I want to reach more people to help more people. Mm-hmm. Part of it is ego. I'm not going to lie. Like, I feel like we both put in so much work for this. I want the recognition. So that's part of it. Do I want to be famous? No.
No, I definitely don't want to be famous.
I don't want to be famous.
I don't even want to be recognised on the street, like in terms of in your own little inner...
Yeah. I don't mind that so much. I just don't want people feeling like they can just say whatever they want about us online. Because, when you get to a certain level, people just feel like they can do that. Which
the keyboard
I think
warriors.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to deal with that. But because the amount of effort we need to put in is going to be the same.
Yeah.
So why not be able to help more people?
My vision of that, and I think one of your questions is, where would you like it to head? But I'll answer that now, is the other day I was talking to my friend Britta, who was on the animal communications episode, and she said something about, I got a client that came through you. And I said, okay, how did they come through us? And she said, well, they listened to the podcast, and she said something about, they told her, I got you from a podcast. And she said, which one? And she mentioned another podcast that she'd been on that was quite big, because she just assumed it was the bigger podcast.
It had tens of thousands of views.
Oh, did it?
Yep.
Okay, well, that was why she probably assumed that.
Yep.
And this is the wording of the person, because they weren't from Australia. They said, no, with the Australian couple. And I thought, I would love that to be how we're remembered if we're around the world, that people just see us as being the Australian couple. I listened to that Australian couple.
Yeah, I would like that too.
And I just thought that's the level of success I would like, because then eventually that would mean that things are landing and resonating for them. And also the same way that I listen to podcasts or things on Gaia, and I want to book in with that practitioner because that person's done such a good job of explaining what they do and I'm inspired. I want my listeners to be inspired and want to book in. So to hear that they booked in with Britta after hearing our podcast, I was like, yes, that's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what I like when I hear other guests. And I hope they follow those other guests,
Yes.
you know, once they've really connected with that information. So my dream would be we get to the point where we have listeners from around the world enjoying our podcast, booking in with the people that we've showcased.
Yep.
So their businesses are doing well and they're getting more of their reach, out into the world because they're spreading good things.
Yep.
And then I would love for us to be able to do retreats internationally, breathwork internationally, and kind of just go, oh, we've got a followership in Canada. I can go visit our friend Marissa and do a retreat or a breathwork event over there, and it's all, part of our world.
Yep.
I've got one of my breathwork friends going to Italy and starting a retreat centre over there. And I'm like, imagine doing retreats in Italy and that being a thing, that people want to follow us there. So my dream would be we could fill retreats in amazing locations around the world, and because people know us, they want to be part of it.
Yeah. And I would love for people to recommend guests and for us to go, yeah, we could definitely get them. Why wouldn't they come on the show?
Yeah.
Whereas right now, I know your dream is Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh, that's a local dream because he's a Perth boy.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it would be amazing. And that would be my dream.
So any Perth people, everyone's got that 60 degrees of separation. I mean, I know 3 people in my own world who have got like the connections to Daniel Ricciardo in some way.
Yep.
I don't know how strong they are, but they,
Yeah.
So if anyone does want to,
because we have reached out to some people. We haven't reached out to Daniel. We're not ready for that yet, I don't think. But to some reasonably famous people, and most of them got back and said, "No, I've got too much on."
Which I totally understand
I
too.
totally understand too, but I want to get to the point where it would be
they want to do it.
Yeah, definitely that show. Yeah, that's my goal. So, what's the takeaway from that? I guess we have a vision.
And you got to keep dreaming
Other
it.
people think it might be ridiculous. I think that. You probably don't think that. But you just keep dreaming and keep going. Like, there's many times in my life, and even Life Films, my film production company, would be an example of, it kind of felt like a pipe dream, but I kept chipping away and eventually got a film on SBS, at pretty much my first attempt.
Yeah.
Well, not my first film, but the first time I tried to get a film on TV and succeeded. And that didn't come easy. Like I had to harass SBS actually to get it on.
Yeah.
But I guess I do have that in me, and that's what I would suggest to other people is, I have self-doubt. Of course I do. And I do feel like an idiot often, but I don't let it stop me. And I don't care enough about, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I don't care enough about what other people think of me to make that stop me from doing it.
Yeah. Do you know, and I did definitely think I mentioned this in a previous, episode, but one time I was in my hammock, because obviously everyone knows I'm obsessed with my hammock, and I was doing a breath work, and at the end of it was a guided meditation actually, and they were getting you to think about, what you wanted, like a dream kind of thing, and it said, dream big, and so I was thinking about the podcast, and I was like, oh yeah, I'd want it to be big, and then in my head I went, how big? And I said to myself, well, as big as the ones that I listen to, like those kind of podcasts. And then I had this little sinking feeling. And if I wasn't in a meditation, I wouldn't have picked up on that feeling. If I just had that thought in the middle of my day, I never would have noticed it. But because I was in this really still moment, I felt this feeling. And then I had this curiosity. I was like, what was that? And I checked in with myself. And it came to me that if we got big, then I'm going to have more people listening to me, judging me, perhaps giving feedback that's not so great. And then I had to stop and go, but Tracey, who's done that? And then apart from that, friendly bit of feedback I got from that friend, no one's actually turned around and said something's rubbish or incorrect or blah, blah, blah. So then I had to realise, well, that judgment and that worry is just coming from me.
For now, I mean, if we do reach a point, there will eventually be a time where people will give us negative feedback.
But I think when you believe in yourself, so I'm going to give you a different side tangent. So when, Scott, you started developing the breathwork pre-recorded ones, the very first one that you did, obviously that was all on your own. That's not me being involved in that. And someone that I respect greatly reached out to me personally and ripped that to shreds, which felt terrible for me, and I didn't even do the breath work in the sense of me being part of that. But obviously I shared that feedback with you and it was really yucky. It was a yucky feeling. And I knew that they weren't doing that to be horrible. And I understood some of the points that they were making. And so then I had to sort of, sit with that yucky feeling. You sat with that yucky feeling. But anyway, then when we did the second breath work and we were both involved and I listened back and I did it myself, I was so proud of it that I actually directly sent it to that person. And you were like, why would you do that? And I said, well, my reason for that is this is more of our vision. The first one didn't land so much for me as well, but Scott has an amazing ability to go, who cares? Let's just put it out there. Let's just try. Let's just do it. And I'm definitely not a perfectionist, but I probably am more so than you, where I would be like, no, that's not quite, that's not quite ready.
Which is weird because I do have very high standards, but I also realise, I think, and I think this is a good tip for people, is a lot of people hold back from going out on social media, and I include LinkedIn on this, so they're just trying to grow their business or whatever, and we'll just wait for the perfect time, or wait until they've perfected this thing with 100 script reads to eventually go, okay, I'm going to put it out there, and many people still wouldn't put it out there.
And you're saying is done is better than perfect.
Correct.
Yeah. So
because you'll get feedback on it. I mean, in this instance, we had this extremely negative feedback, but on the flip side,
other people gave us great feedback.
Tons of good feedback.
So with the second one, I sent it to him and my rationale was, this is more aligned with our vision. So if he doesn't like it, he doesn't get our vision. So I actually don't care what you think. But then if you do love it, great, whatever. It didn't really actually affect me if he loved it or not because I loved it.
Yeah,
and I think
already made peace with it.
That's what it was. I'd made peace with it. So I think because I made peace with it, I wasn't really caring what that feedback would be. Because I thought, look, I know we're growing and we're getting closer to what that vision would be. Yes, we could tweak, a few things there, to make it even better. But I thought what we produced was at that point of being good enough.
Yeah.
And me being proud of it. And then each iteration of that, now we're up to volume 4, again, I'm really proud of it. And I want to keep growing that. We have a little, this morning, even when you were saying about maybe we could go weekly for our episodes. And I said my priority would be building up our breath work, because I think that's a resource I can share with people where I can go, right, let's start doing some 10-minute breath works and some more down-regulated ones where if they just really need to calm down, I can flick them something easily.
Yeah.
So I think just that growing and knowing that you're not always going to get it perfect. Like, no, I wouldn't have probably put out your first one, but you were okay with that and you grew a lot because the breath works are really you doing that. Like, that's a lot of work. People don't realize how hard a breath work is to make.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Again, I still love it, but it's hard. It is hard work.
Yeah. But if you don't start things like when I think of the retreat, even our very first individual retreat, that is so different. And that was only a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like that's only been 2 years now.
I think so.
Yeah. It's exactly 2 years in the May, that we've been doing them. And I've already changed that program so much. It's a little bit stable now in terms of I don't know that I'll tweak it for the next one. Or actually, no, we are tweaking it for the next one.
We're always tweaking it. We're always tweaking it.
So just know that you've got to start somewhere. And if you don't start, you won't know what the tweak is that you want to make next to make it a better version and a better version and a better version. We've done, I think, 19 relationship retreats. And I don't think we changed anything for the last 4 or 5, but this next one we've got a couple of changes happening as we've got new ideas that we think should go in there. So just start and you'll keep tweaking and you'll get it to the point where you go, okay, I'm either really happy with that or it's still growing and it's still evolving, and that's okay too.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That's why I put it out. I knew that thing wasn't perfect, but I'm a big believer in momentum.
Yeah.
So I think that's another key takeaway is get some momentum happening, put something out there, do something, produce something, create something, and then get in the habit of doing it.
Yeah.
And then you will pick up a little bit of momentum and then it becomes easier.
Did that negative feedback impact you?
Yes, definitely. You saw it impacted
me. I know. I want you to tell everyone how it impacted you.
I guess I went through different stages. I was angry, hurt, a bit sad. I think I processed all of those emotions within 24 to 48 hours. I think probably by 2 days, I think I was comfortable. And
did you feel like that person was coming from a good place giving that feedback?
I did. I didn't feel that person necessarily needed to be so critical. I wouldn't have done it that way.
Well, do you know what was nice about that person though? Like, because I sent them number 2, and I think I might have even sent them number 3, and they said to me, I haven't sent 4, but I said number 3, and they said, oh, how's Scott going with, the feedback and whatever? And I said, oh, he's a bit sensitive about it. And I said, but I can understand where you're coming from, and, I appreciate it and stuff. Anyway, he didn't give any feedback for that one. So I'm sure he would have had tweaks and changes. But again, I actually didn't care. Like, that's fine. And even we're new to this, and I listen to Othership, and I've been listening to them for the years, and I've done some of their breathworks before, and I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't loved it. Like, it's been fine. Other ones I absolutely adore and love and will do them over and over, but they've got a really big library, and there's loads in there that I've done, and I've just been like, Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I am a bit of a conundrum in terms of, I don't know if that was the right word, but
No,
anyway.
it was not.
There is a juxtaposition to me where part of me will keep going and go, well, yeah, bad feedback, whatever. I believe in what I'm doing. I'm going to keep going. There is another part of me that is sensitive.
Yeah.
And I do carry it, but I've learned over the years to process it. So, and what I mean by process, and this is actually a good little anxiety tip for people. When I was going through my worst bouts of anxiety, one of the things I would try and do is just pretend it wasn't happening. And you can do that in different ways, through drinking or whatever, and try and numb it.
Block it out.
Yeah. Watching TV, binge watching TV is another way to block it out. Food, I guess, is a way to gaming. And I think I've talked about this on the show before, the phrase lean in. So it used to annoy me. I never fully understood what lean in meant. Why would I want to lean into feeling anxious? It's a horrible feeling. I want to lean out.
I mean, that reminds me of Amy.
Yeah, I had that conversation with Amy. So, and it took me ages to figure it out. And basically what it means is when you're feeling whatever the emotion is, in my case, it was anxiety, I can either pretend that's not happening and try and numb it with whatever I'm going to numb it with. But ultimately, it's not being processed, and so it's just going to sit there.
Yeah.
Lean in means that you can basically say to yourself, I am anxious right now, and that's okay. And it might last for an hour, or it might last the whole day. It might last the whole week. But there'll be a point where it passes, or it's not this bad. And then maybe even try and delve into, why am I feeling this way? What are those feelings? And then obviously all my learnings from you around what can I do to take care of myself right now, make myself feel a little bit better. That's maybe not necessarily just numbing. It's just a way of nurturing. But it's the processing. And so that's what I did with that negative feedback. I didn't try and just block it out and go, that didn't happen. I actually felt, I'm angry. Why am I angry at this person? And then sat with that for a little while. And that's probably when I got sad.
Yeah. Well, I want to double point on that, because anger often, is that immediate emotion, but underneath that is probably the hurt and the deeper layers.
Yeah. And then I was probably sad for a bit, and I think it was 2 days.
Yeah.
That I sort of sat with it. And then,
one of the good things that you often tell me, if I ever get in my head, or maybe it's around those sort of things where we get a bit of negative feedback, is we're doing it. Like the people that are giving, this negative feedback, what are they doing? Yeah, what are they putting out into the world? Are they putting a risk? And they doing something that's going to give them feedback, or, contributing in a positive way to society? Like, what are they actually doing? So, that's another way to sort of challenge it a little bit as well when you get the key. And he was not a keyboard warrior. Like, I just want to point out, he was not like an average.
Actually was, I guess critical feedback, but it was a critique. And
didn't feel great.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually did a LinkedIn post about this yesterday where I tried to tie in Dr. Mary's episode. So Dr. Mary is the one where she was in the car accident and died at 21, but had a
near-death experience.
Near-death experience,
which is actually incorrect because they all call it near-death experience, but she died.
Yes, and she went on and is living an amazing life.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to point out was this thing that I think she said it. Well, I definitely got it from the episode is what would you think about that when you're 80? And I've lived my life like that for quite a while now, probably a decade, of I don't want to have regrets. I don't want to get to 80 or 90 or whatever it is, touch wood, I make it that far, where you look back and go, I wish I had done that.
Yeah. Do you know about her? So I follow her on Instagram ever since she's come on our podcast, and her mum had died, since we recorded the episode, which was, I don't want to say it's overdue, but she'd gone there to look after her mum for the last 3 weeks of her life, and that was a year before. Yeah. So the mum had a great last year, but she's been recently putting all the clips up of her mum going to Rome, or going to Italy at least, at 95.
Amazing.
And having this fabulous trip, looking amazing.
Her mum looked I saw the clips as well. Her mum looked like pretty amazing.
I thought so too, for 93 or whatever she was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even that's live life.
Yeah.
Don't just coop yourself up and be like, oh, well, that's my lot now, or I'm old now, or where can I go? Like the fact that she was out living and having these beautiful meals and this beautiful scenery and things, I just think, oh, that's incredible that she lived life fully up until when she died.
Yeah, I agree. To finish off the thing about the LinkedIn post, I tied that in with you can either be on the field or you can be in the stands watching. And quite often, any negative feedback that you're getting is from the people in the stands.
Yeah.
I think people who are out there doing it,
They get it.
they get it. Why? This is the same thing with my DJing is any DJs who leave comments on my channel, always positive. People who would leave negative comments, they're not DJs.
Yeah.
They're not putting themselves out there and going, this is what I can do.
And you've gotten some random ones on your DJ thing that are just like, why are you bothering putting that?
Yeah. A few. And they're all in my head. Like I still remember them.
What were they?
One was the use of the word dude annoyed me about this. He goes, you use too many samples, dude. And it was the word dude that really just...
So it wasn't the insult.
No.
It was
the fuck do you think you are calling me dude? Like,
maybe that was his way of softening it.
yeah, maybe. It sounded condescending to me. That's how I took it.
Okay.
Obviously, because it was negative. That's how I took it.
But did you care? Because you like how many samples you do, because you do it deliberately.
I do it deliberately to differentiate myself from other DJs. Anyone can just play.
But also, I
songs.
think that's how you create your music. Like you put two songs together, and sometimes if I hear it on its own, I'm like,
It's not as good.
Yeah. And I'll say to you, hey, where's the bit? Or did you layer that in? And he goes, I layered that in. I'm like,
Yeah.
So to me, I'll think a song is a certain song, but it's not. It's how you've mixed it.
Yeah.
And then I won't like it as much when I hear it on its original.
Yeah.
So that's an easy challenge.
Yeah. That's the one. Like, I haven't had that many, but you do remember that.
It was so funny that it's the bit about the dude that was...
I just thought it was condescending.
But also that shows everybody it's the interpretation that creates the chemicals and creates the mood.
Oh, of course.
Because you thinking dude, because to me that wouldn't be the bit that would have got me. I wouldn't care. Whatever. Call me dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mate, call me whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would
what's
be
another
my
one?
Interpretation. I was just trying to think. Maybe I've made some progress because
You've processed it.
The other ones, there's probably 3 or 4 that have hurt my feelings. And I remember the person because I clicked on his username so I could look.
You went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. He was more having a go at me because I'd labelled one of my mixes as sometimes I do little tribute mix to certain artists.
Yeah.
And he'd had a go at me saying I didn't use enough of that artist's
To call it a tribute.
tracks to call it a tribute.
Right. He had a standard. He had a certain
So when
level
I clicked, I think I've said this before, when I clicked on him, his YouTube channel was about reviewing games.
Yeah.
So his whole thing
He's already is being a critique. That's his whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to look from the lens of what's wrong with this.
Correct. Which I did not agree with, and I think I let him know in a polite way that's what I thought. I will reply. I'll reply to all of them, and usually, this is a side tangent, but there was one where they really had a go. I can't remember the wording, but they really had a go, basically saying it was one of my really popular ones, ones that had been seen by like 40,000 people. Mm-hmm. I got like over 100 really nice comments. Mm-hmm. And then this one who basically just said it was shit. So my reply to that person was, I hope you're doing okay. And I did get a reply saying, yeah, sorry, I was having a really bad day that day. And something else nice.
That's a good example of showing if you had have matched that energy, that's the energy you would have got back. Because you didn't take that energy on and you did it in a nicer way, whether you felt that or not, that's the response you gave. That softened everything and changed that whole interaction.
Yes. Yeah. So just goes to show.
Yeah. Do you know, I'll just say as well, when we did the Janelle episode and that clip went viral, that particular clip has been shared, I think 7,500 times on Instagram, and we still get followers, even today, from that reel. But because there's also so many comments on that post, and I don't really read them because there's so many comments and stuff, but there's been a couple on there where people might go, oh, she's not telling us how to da-da-da, or she's not, like there'll be some sort of negative comment about, and I'll go, listen, like in my head, listen to the episode. I'm not giving you all the facts in a 2-minute reel.
Yeah, the more time I spend on social media, and I never even used to click, and I'm not talking about our content, I'm just talking about any content. I never used to read the comments. Now I do read some comments sometimes because people are genuinely hilarious, and sometimes the comments can be, and a lot of my content on my algorithm is comedy stuff. Yeah. But occasionally you'll click on the comments and someone's had a go at someone. Like the other thing is, I know, sorry about this, it's going to be a 1-minute ramble. If I watch someone's video, I hit the like button. And the reason I do that is because I want to put that love out there into the universe to go, this person has taken the time to film this, especially if they've had a crack at editing and trying to make it interesting or funny or engaging or whatever it is. I go, they deserve a like. Yeah. I've watched it. I'm going to like it. Because I just want to put that energy out there. I want to acknowledge, good job. When somebody puts a negative comment about something that somebody spent time crafting, just because they don't agree with the opinion or they don't find it funny or whatever, that's the part of social media I genuinely dislike. Yeah. I'm like, who are you? And it comes back to the being in the stands or being on the playing field. Yeah, yeah. It's like, you're just some random person who just... And it's the ones where they say, well, everyone can have an opinion. It's like, yeah, but why put that negativity out there? I just do not get it. And I think, but that's also the point of, like, this is where I had to get out of my head with the podcast and realize that even though I might not get all the exact terminology or explain things in the most articulate way, compared to if I was scripting it properly, it's just my opinion, and my opinion comes with layers of experience, with my own personal life experience, with all the learnings I've done from my own trainings, as well as just life experience or the podcasts I listen to, or nowadays it's even the guests that we have on that I learn from in the time that we spend with them. So that's all culminating into my very unique opinion. Yep. And so how can someone judge that when it's coming from all those different layers? Yep. Yep. So it resonates or it doesn't. So if it doesn't, and even in client sessions, I'll say to people, I'll give them an example and I'll say, I'm only giving you this example so that you hear what your gut says, and then you can go, no, it's not that, but it's this, and it helps them define something a bit more for them. So I think everything is subjective, and for someone to turn around and make a negative comment, maybe it just shows where their energy is. Oh yeah, I think so. I think most of the real negativity, and Twitter is the worst place for it. I don't even really use Twitter anymore because of that. Yeah. One thing I wanted to mention as well that I forgot was in the very, very beginning, the kids did not like us doing a podcast. Oh, I wanted to cover this as well. That popped into my head about half an hour ago. Oh, I thought of it last night because I thought, gosh, the difference is this morning I was driving the kids to school and I said I think I said something about the podcast. I said, oh, lucky we don't have a guest today because it was bad traffic. And Tommy said, oh, is it just you two? And I said, yeah. And he goes, oh, that's good. It's easy to edit. And I thought,
Gosh, even just talking about that in a normal way with Tommy, because I would have conversations with them again driving to school where I'd say something about the podcast. And because of social media and the algorithms, some of their friends were getting the reels from TikTok coming up on their feed. And they were sort of in a really negative way saying, oh, it's so embarrassing. And, you know, our friends are blah, 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 pointing it out to us. And, you know, no one else's parents are doing this. Yes. And so where you were saying, yeah, that's cool, isn't it? That, you know, we do this or we do that. And I was saying to you, no, they don't think it's cool. They want to be like everybody else.
Yep.
Where their parents don't do podcasts.
Yes.
But I feel like over time, it's just normal for them now. They don't say anything about it. I mean, they don't give us positive feedback, but they don't give us negative. And in fact, Tommy does actually give me positive feedback. He'll listen to an episode and he might actually say that was a good episode.
He did. Yeah, he's done that a few times.
And so now I feel like it's also a way of programming our kid.
Yeah.
Because
he started oil pulling. Wasn't that from the show?
I don't know if I mentioned on the show.
I think it was.
But it's also because when he edits, he said to me, my teeth are white, and he knows what I do.
Ah, all right, okay.
Yeah, he knows what I do because...
I should briefly tell people
all
what
right,
it is.
So when... actually, I don't think I learnt this from my friend Nikki, who's an Ayurvedic practitioner. I think I just learned this off different reels that came up on my Instagram feed. But essentially, for good mouth hygiene, there's a thing you can do called oil pulling. So you get coconut oil. You can use other oils, but I'm not sure which ones they are. But coconut oil is cheap, easy, doesn't taste terrible in your mouth. If you like raw treats, you know, the raw... Yeah, the things, they've often got coconut oil in them, so the flavours are kind of similar. So all you do is you get like a tablespoon or so and you melt it in the microwave, and then you just literally swish it around your mouth like you would like a mouth gargle, mouthwash for 20 minutes. So 20 minutes sounds like it's ages, but you just do it while you're doing things. So Tommy started doing that. And he said, can I do it at night? And I said, make sure you're not having anything, you know, else to eat once you've done that. I said, but usually do it in the morning. So now he's doing it morning and night.
Yeah, wow.
But the reason he was doing it at night is that I can't do it in the morning. I don't have time. And I said, oh, just do it when you first wake up. And then when you're having your shower and you're doing everything else, it's just in your mouth the whole time. And that way it's sort of just doing it. And it's an easy way to keep both, you know, it pulls all the bacteria from your gums under your tongue, you know, all through around your teeth. But it also whitens your teeth. So he's doing it for the whitening. He couldn't care less about the health benefits. But
it's helped you a lot with your potential infection from
your
your
tooth.
tooth.
So I have a tooth that the dentist wanted to pull out because I had a crack in it, and it just didn't feel right for me to pull that. Like I went down all the path of getting scans and getting this and meeting with everybody, and they either wanted to put a implant in or put a bridge in, and both of those options just didn't seem right to me. And it was only because they said that way you're not going to get infections. So I thought to myself, well, if I can do something to stop me getting infections, I don't need to pull the tooth. And I spoke to my friend who's the Ayurvedic practitioner, and she said, no, if I was you, I would just manage your mouth. And so now anytime I feel like my tooth is being a bit more sensitive or I'm worried of an infection, I up my oil pulling, and touch wood, I've really been able to manage it so well. So that's why I do it. And the side benefit is that it whitens my teeth, but Tommy's doing it totally for the teeth whitening.
Yeah, well, whatever works.
Yeah. So I definitely encourage everyone, go do some oil pulling.
Yeah, it's cheap and easy, and it works. I know you've got notes. Is there anything we haven't covered that you want to mention? Because we're getting close to wrap up time.
Okay. What do people assume is easy that's actually brutal?
I feel like I might have covered that off with the trailer. The trailer is brutal. Okay. There's other things like, you know, I guess I'm the I'm the handyman for this show. I do everything. Yeah. Like I'm booking guests, I'm shooting, editing, I'm setting up, I'm packing down.
Yeah. I just get to chat.
I'm prepping. Yeah. But like the whole theme of this show, if you love it.
But also it's nice. Sometimes I'll look at you, I think a couple of weeks ago, you were sitting in the playroom and you were just reading a book and you were like, I'm show prepping. You were loving that book.
That's actually been, there's a few, I guess, side benefits of this show. One is getting to meet, and I know you feel this way too, getting to meet lots of different people. And
making friends with them.
Yep.
We've actually become friends with Sophie.
Yeah.
So she was our first guest to come on for the second time.
Yep.
And she's from Adelaide, and it was so lovely on her podcast. She'd sort of said, I'm going to try and manifest a way to come to Perth and meet you guys in person and do a podcast in person. And she did. And so that was a month ago.
Less
Than a month ago.
Weeks, yep.
And then we went out for lunch afterwards, and I could have chatted to her all day. In fact, I offered to drive her back into the city. Well, A, because I think that's nice. But yeah, that was a good, another 40-minute chat that we got in there. Yep. And she's super lovely. So now, and then one of our other guests knows Sophie, and they're both in Adelaide. Yes. So I said, now we'll have to go to Adelaide. So I feel like it gives us an opportunity to meet these amazing people.
Yep.
That we would never meet before. And also the other thing for me that I love about the podcast, which really is met a need that I always have wanted. I love interesting conversations. And what it's actually done is where I used to want that with my friends and probably annoy them because I'm talking about things that they're not that interested in, but I might have heard it on a podcast or learnt about it.
Yes.
Now I'm doing it with people that are wanting to have those conversations. So now I've got a bit more load more tolerance where I can have the chit chat and the more surfacey conversations with my friends because I'm doing the more deeper, stimulating, in-depth conversations on here.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's ultimately what keeps us coming back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm lucky as well because my job gives me that. Like my job gives me new information about industries I've never heard about because people explain, something as they're getting to their problem that they're trying to share with me. But I'll learn all these things that I never would have known. So it keeps my job really fresh. Even if I'm talking about similar themes, the content around it keeps it really interesting for me.
Yeah. Beautiful. This has gone way longer than I thought this episode was going to go. We're like an hour and 20. We can keep going though. Okay. There's no limit. That's the beauty of having this show. Okay.
So I'm going to ask you then, what's something that broke or went wrong that the audience never knew about?
There is something. Well, I should say that the first time we started having guests on Zoom was the stress that I felt just setting up the technology for that to work. So I think you can see on the video that we have like a mixer desk that I operate. Trying to get that to work with Zoom when you'd never done it before, that was extremely stressful. I think I'm less stressed now.
You've had a few of those. We only just the other week
had one the other day.
You were randomly pressing buttons, had no clue what you were doing.
And I have to give a sense of, and this is the same with filmmaking. One thing filmmaking has taught me is when things are going wrong, if you can portray a sense of calm, that you have it under control, just makes everyone else feel better. Yeah. Doesn't make me feel better, but it makes everyone else feel better. And so when we came on Zoom with this guest, I'd set it up the exact same way that I'd set it up with any other guest, and we just couldn't hear him. I think he could hear us, but we couldn't hear him.
Yes, it was that, yeah. Was it Jonathan?
No, it was one yet to come out, Graham.
Oh, the Are You Okay
Day.
Yep.
And there was a couple of things that I could try. None of them worked. And then, just clicked a couple of things on the Zoom settings. And I don't know why it worked, but it worked. But that whole time I was sort of, because he could hear us, I was chatting to him and telling them, yeah, okay, I'm just going to do this, that, and whatever, and just kept the whole thing nice and calm.
Yeah.
Then the only other thing I think is, when we've had really bad connections and words drop out, and in my head I'm going, this is going to be a fucking nightmare
to edit. Yeah.
So yeah.
I think the human design podcast was like that, where as she was talking, I could hear the words dropping out, and I thought, oh God. And even when we were following along with the story, some of those were key, key words that made sense or didn't make sense in the story. Yeah. So that was tricky.
Yeah. So yeah. And what about you? Any final thoughts on?
Well, I was going to ask you, what are you most proud of? And then I want to answer that as well.
I'd just say the quality of the content. I think that, and having a dream and going for it, even though every rational person would probably say that's ridiculous. Because I think I would say that too.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of, you're getting emotional.
I am. I was thinking my answer and I was getting emotional.
Yeah. And well, that for me is has been the best part. Is I don't care what other people think. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think one of the things that makes me so proud is not just that we're giving, content and information and things out there for free and helping other practitioners, share their message and hopefully, spread their magic into the world. But when I think about what you do with life films and you capture someone's story and you've got all the ways that they speak and their nuances and, as they light up, their face changes, all those things that once they've passed, their families are going to really cherish. I feel like already we've given our kids over 50 hours of content of seeing us interact, hearing our wisdom, so if we're never around, they've always got all the things that we would want to share with them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about that too.
And I think that they'll get us in our heyday when we're, in our 40s rather than in our 60s and 70s, and they can listen back to all the challenges we might have had with kids and, things at that age and stuff. So I think that from a personal perspective, we're giving our family that legacy. Yeah.
And they're little trigger memories for them, like how much it used to annoy them that we were setting up and they couldn't come in the kitchen. And like they'll trigger tons of memories. Like they have... Like Emmy will have memories of jumping on the microphone and testing the headphones. And Tommy will remember editing, and not sure what Ali will remember, but general embarrassment.
Not coming in the kitchen. Coming up on her friends' feeds. Yeah.
I think it's beautiful. Right.
And so given that's our 50th episode, I think that we definitely want to give a big thank you to everyone that's listened to us and given us that feedback and got us to this point, because in the very, very beginning, my only goal was to get to 20.
Yeah.
And I've talked about this before, but most podcasts, they quit after 4 episodes. They realise that no one's listening and it's a lot of work, and so they get disillusioned and discouraged and they stop. And so I was determined that was never going to be me. Like I wanted to be that if I'm going to put a catalogue out into the world, it's at least going to be 20 episodes. So I'm even more proud to go, wow, that's 50 episodes. Even if we quit tomorrow, 50 episodes is pretty cool.
Still something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You stole a little bit of my thunder for my outro, but
I want to say thank you to you, because you do most of this, and you don't get any pats on the back and even half of the feedback that I get, because I see people face to face. But I think as well, the same way I was saying that people come on our retreats and they know us, they are like that with you now. Like I had beautiful feedback about you, from our last retreat. One of the clients I was talking to and said, because he wasn't very social and he's so lovable, like it's such a surprise to everybody. And I was talking about the connections he made, and he said, well, actually the most favourite person that I met on the retreat was actually Scott.
Yeah.
And so I thought that's so beautiful that you're growing and blossoming, and the wisdom that you're sharing in person on the retreats, is really resonating and landing and making a difference for people, not just, what you're sharing online.
Yep.
So I think that's really showing your growth.
Yep. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. Shall I do my little thing? Because I'm going to acknowledge you in a way.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. This is kind of like hopefully it's a little bit better than Jerry Springer. You know how Jerry Springer had his final thoughts?
Oh, I don't know. No.
You never watched Jerry Springer?
Well, yeah, not the
He
final
always
thoughts.
did like a scripted
at the end,
thing at the end,
okay.
like his scripted little outro. So that's what I thought. I wanted to mark the 50th episode with something, so I prepared a little thing. Okay, 50 episodes. I'm not going to pretend that it's easy to get to, because it isn't, and I think that's the point. Not many worthwhile things are easy. The stuff that matters, building something real, showing up consistently, trying to help people, none of that is easy. And here's what I've learned. If you don't love what you're doing, you should probably stop. Not because it gets hard, because it will get hard, but because when it gets hard and you don't love it, there's nothing left to carry you through. We love this. That's the only reason we're still here. So dream big, genuinely, embarrassingly big. We have, and while we haven't arrived yet, that vision is what gets us back in front of the microphone every time. And in between the big dreams, celebrate the small things. For us, that's the person who messaged to say an episode helped them. The person who stopped me in Woolworths that time to say they listened to the show. The time we booked a guest who thought would never come on. Enjoy the journey, because if you're always waiting for the destination, you'll miss the whole thing. And I want to be honest about something. We're not naive. We know that everyone has a podcast. Like seriously, everyone. Your neighbour, your work colleague, the guy at the pub. And plenty of people have looked at what we're doing and thought, yeah, good luck with that. And we get it. It's crowded, it's noisy, and most podcasts don't make it past episode 4. So we're not standing here pretending this is some massive success story. It's a journey. And getting one new person to sit down and listen to a 90-minute conversation about something that actually matters to them, that's huge. That is genuinely hard to do. And every single time you've shared an episode, told a friend, sent it to someone you thought needed it, left a review, or just sent us a message saying, I needed to hear that, you helped make that happen. You are the reason this show exists at episode 50, so thank you. Genuinely thank you from two people who started this thing with no idea if anyone would listen and found out that some of you do. It means everything. And to Tracey, I love you. I'm proud of you. And I couldn't imagine doing this or life with anyone else.
Thanks, baby.
Love you. Bye-bye.
I love you.